Many of you guys are professional, college-going students. Sometimes, some of us might be, doctors and physicians, and of course of every field. I mention doctors and physicians because you will understand my thought a little bit more clearly. An individual, a person, 5 to 6 feet tall, a boy or a girl, anyone. They are walking around doing all the things of khair and goodness, providing people with benefits, feeding the poor, doing all the good things that this person can do, all the good stuff. And this individual is known to be a person who is a good individual in the community. Now, all of a sudden, one day, that same individual who was going around as a boy or a girl, whoever they were, all of a sudden, while they're lying down on their bed, there is one thing which leaves their life, which is their ruh, their soul. Now that same boy or a girl who was the reason of going around everywhere and helping and benefiting others, this same individual is unable to move from their place. Now I ask you a question. This is something that I want you to reflect upon. Don't just listen to things and just leave. Please reflect upon them. The Prophet of Allah was approached by Jibreel alayhi salam and said, "O Prophet ﷺ, the people of Quraysh and the Yahud and the Jews of Medina will come and they will ask you 3 questions. They will ask you about the people of the cave. They will ask you about the person who is known as Dhul Qarnayn, and they will ask you about what is soul, what is ruh." We don't have time to discuss all 3 things, but quickly. The Prophet of Allah ﷺ said, "What is ruh?" Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed the ayah of the Quran, يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. You ask about soul. Soul and ruh is an order of Allah. One order of Allah. I want you to please remember this one statement. Soul is a single order of Allah. From the ayah of the Quran. يَسْأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الرُّوحِ قُلِ الرُّوحُ مِنْ أَمْرِ رَبِّهِ. Soul is from the order of Allah. Now I want you to come back to that boy and girl who's laying down on a bed. Now the soul departed their body. That same boy and girl who was such a great help for the entire community, they're unable to move. If you go and leave that person in that bed, you don't wash them, you don't shroud them, you don't put them inside the qabr and the grave, what will happen to a dead body? For many of us, professionals, college-going students, biology, and of course, we know all this. This body will begin to contaminate to an extent that this body will begin to give an offensive odor. An individual who was a great help for people, now his body or her body is beginning to give fumes of odor. If you leave that body for a little bit more, they will begin to develop insects and animals and bacteria in that same body, which was such a great help. If you keep that body there for an even longer time, the people surrounding this body will begin to die because of the harm that this one person is giving to the people around. What changed? From that person lying down to that person walking in the street, what changed? What changed, brothers and sisters? Ruh. And I told you to remember one statement. What is ruh? Ruh is a single order of Allah. And now combine these 2 things together, P then Q. If a single order of Allah leaves a person, how harmful they will become to others. Imagine a person whose entire life are based upon breaking the commands of Allah. I hope you can connect these 2 things together. I hope this is not too deep for you. If one person who is a single individual walking with a soul, with so beneficial to others, loses their soul and becomes the reasons of destruction, is because of one order of Allah. Imagine a person not praying 5 times a day. How destructive this one person is, even though our eyes cannot see. And that's why an individual is known as insan, for who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the angels do sajda to us. Bow down in front of Adam. For what reason? The excellence and the pinnacle of the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then to another level, an individual who leaves the commands of Allah is just like animals.